best behavior as we start this, go share with your Dub Club community, retweet, put it in the Discord. Let's get it cooking. Mike, as always, I put in the invite, join from a computer, wear headphones. Mike joining from his phone, not wearing headphones.
I came prepared for once.
I expect nothing less from Mike, but of course, Dirty Bubble, A+ student, honors merits.
I remember I did one of these about a year ago, and people were complaining about my audio, so I had to make sure I didn't let the people down too much this time.
Mike's just got so much. Yeah, you've got the mini headphones. You got the mini microphone.
Mini mic, yeah.
We need to get you a little Mac.
I know, I'm going to.
So that works as well. So yeah. I'm going to be feverishly getting links underneath this post so that people can access your Dub Club links and I can refer to it. Oh, I just put a banner on. That wasn't on purpose. In the meantime, let's do a little pre-show background, especially Mike. I know you wanted to do this. You had a big milestone last year with respect to your Dub Club career and your general career.
Yeah.
If you're not frozen and if you're unfrozen, why don't you give the people a little bit of background on like how long you've been with Dub Club and what changed last year? And we'll start there. And then Connor, I'm going to put you on the spot too.
All right. So am I good right now? Unfrozen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, so I actually quit my 9-to-5 job middle of last year, pursuing this full time, and it's been going awesome so far. Dub Club has helped every second of the way. Been with you guys since 2022. It's really changed my life for the better and continue to grow each step of the way. So it's been awesome and a lot more stress, but always good stress. I'm always here every single day, and I love what I do. And if you don't love your job, then what are you doing, right?
What an inspirational story. Mike, what's the biggest change day to day between when you started in 2022 and now here in the year 2026?
A lot more focus and details into every play as far as trends go, consistency on the either over or under or spreads or anything like that. And now that I can focus on this actually 24/7 and don't have any other job, then it just makes my life so much easier. And I know the VIPs definitely appreciate it.
What was your old job, if you don't mind asking, before you went full-time on Dub Club? This is fun because we got a similar story with Connor. So this is like a good theme of the stream.
Yeah, I was actually at Lending Club. It's a loan company for dental and bariatric hair and all that. I was in the back office manager there. And yeah, I loved it. It was full remote. So I was able to focus on this, but I wanted to make this full-time 24/7, 365.
What do you miss, if anything at all, about being a lending officer?
Nothing.
That's a stump. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's
like
a stumper.
Job interview. What are your weaknesses? Yeah. What are your strengths?
You don't come on DCTV for the softball questions.
Yeah.
We're gonna put your feet to the fire.
This is my number one passion. This is my number one job. I keep growing, getting more merchandise in, have a bunch of hoodies, business cards, just try to find different ways to grow. Just started a new show, GG Tries, where I bet on sports that I've never bet on before. I was up till 2 a.m. the other night watching snooker, which I've never seen before. Don't recommend it. But yeah, just trying to try new things every single day to get my new eyeballs out there for the people.
Give us the Spark Notes version of what exactly that is, if possible. If there is a Spark Notes version. Yeah. Is it soccer? It's the little ball on the ground?
Yeah, it's kind of like soccer. It's awful. I'm never going to recommend it again. Although the other day I bet on lacrosse for the first time, Johns Hopkins lacrosse. I was pretty interested in it. So yeah, but that's what I'm trying to do, different sports. And now with the Olympics coming up, it'll be a lot easier to find sports that I've never bet on before.
That's actually a really good segue because Dirty Bubble Bets is kind of a master of the niche market. So let's get a little pre-show background on you, Connor. What are the niche markets that you're most well known for? Let's start there.
Yeah, so I would say that I probably wouldn't be sitting here or have the following that I do if it wasn't for Korean baseball, which, a lot of people who might be watching this who never heard of me before, probably sitting there laughing or, you know, saying what the hell is this guy talking about? But that's really where Dirty Bubble Bets all started. I found a very quick fascination for the Korean Baseball League during COVID, mostly because there was no sports on. I was up super late at night, and these games were on, you know, pretty much at that same time in the middle of the night. Fast forward a few years and realized you could bet on Korean baseball. Started throwing out my plays for fun on Dirty Bubble Bets, which used to be my old burner account in college. So if you see I've been around from 2019, that's why. Started to get some traction, you know, kind of the same story with a lot of people. Trying to make a long story short, we had some people that were following me, you know, were hitting me up in the DMs like, hey, just wanted to say thank you, you know, really appreciative of, you know, sending out the KBO picks, place them before I go to bed, wake up before I go to work, and, you know, see how everything wakes up. And just been having a really good time doing it. Get the mind flowing a little bit. Started to, you know, feel out the thoughts of some of these people that were already tailing my plays for free about potentially doing something a little bit more exclusive. At the time, that was 4.5 years ago. Dub Club was, you know, the top dog in this industry, really the only name that I was attracted to or knew of. And I was going to them to say, hey, you know, I've got these people that are interested in me taking my exclusive picks to, you know, just away from X to where they can receive them exclusively. And, you know, 4.5 later, here we are. So Korean baseball is where everything started. All of my VIP subs now, I cover, you know, pretty much the main American sports, baseball, basketball, football. I've got some guys on my team that do soccer, golf, and tennis, because hand up, I'll be the first one to say those were never my strong suits. And I don't believe, you know, in sending out picks to people just for the sake of having picks. When you do this for 4.5 years, I don't think I've necessarily taken a day off, but I also haven't just forced action just for the sake of it. So similar to the GG, about 1.5 years ago, I was able to take that next step and walk away from my 9-to-5 corporate job. I was an advertising account executive, so pretty much just ringing phones and sending emails to line up different advertising campaigns, whether it be billboard, digital, etc. And honestly, I really enjoyed the job, but it just came to a point where it was a little bit hard to handle the both of them. Dirty Bubble Bets continued to grow over the years, and obviously my client list at the 9-to-5 continued to grow as well. And it got to a point where I was really able to have a serious conversation with myself to make that next jump. Because for me, my biggest thing was, you know, in 4.5 years running this business, I always pride myself on trying to do things the right way. I think we all know that, unfortunately, there are some bad apples in the gambling space, pretty much anywhere you look. And really, I try to pride myself on doing things the right way, being transparent, and just taking care of my people, you know, when times maybe aren't smoothing as sail as that we'd like them to. You know, people are paying for gambling picks. Obviously, there's no guarantee in this industry, but you want to be able to provide, you know, winning results to the people that are trusting you with their money. And really, that's just been my long-term goal, is doing things the right way, taking care of my people. And, you know, I always say at the end of the journey, we'll be on top in the end.
Two of the true good guys of the industry. You guys both have been in it, putting in the daily deposits for many years. So it's a pleasure to host you both on stream in this epic mega collab heading into Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to cover everything under the sun. We only got one game to talk about. So I hope you guys brought out your freaking almanac for everything we can talk about for this game in particular. Before we get started, I want to hype you guys both up. First of all, I want to thank our sponsor, the fine folks over at Chalkboard, a great place to play daily fantasy sports with your friends and your enemies too. They've got a great offer for new customers right now. 100% deposit match. First-time players get 100% deposit match up to $100, I believe, plus a free square with code DUBCLUB. Use the square on the big game this Sunday. We talk a little bit about free squares later and how they can really help with building bankrolls. We'll get to that later. It's a great app, very popular, and you can check out why if you go and sign up. So thank you to the fine folks at Chalkboard. Let's hype up our hosts. Okay, this is a very Super Bowl special dais. Mike, the gambling god, claims to have gone plus 22 units in the Super Bowl last year. Bankroll Pearl Clutchers beware. That's a good day at the office. He'll tell you exactly what he did last year, and you'll get a sneak peek into what he likes this year. 75% off all packages to the Gambling God. Click the link below the tweet. Mike, say hello to the listeners at home. The pre-show's over. The show has begun. What do you have to say for the listeners at home? Two-time guest on DCTV. Last time you were on for the NFL playoffs, I'm pretty sure you crushed the slate. So you're back by popular demand.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So for me, longtime VIPs know NFL is definitely my sport. Number one. I think that's the one that where I study the most, and the most love I have in the game is the NFL. So for me, I like to do a lot of straight bets, a lot of confident player props for 5-unit and 1-unit play. And I have actually 7 bets that I want to go over today that I absolutely
love.
Yeah.
Love it. In addition to Mike, the Gambling God, we have the one, the only, the Dirty Bubble Bets. Also has a very boast-worthy Super Bowl track record. I'm pulling up my notes because I want to absolutely nail this because it's very impressive. 3-0 lifetime on Super Bowl 10U Play of the Years. Man, we're just unloading the bankroll for the big game, I guess. In 2025, you had the Eagles getting 1.5. That one was a pretty sweat-free winner. Chiefs money line plus 115 before that. And the year before that, we had Chiefs money line again. So you're coming 3 straight years, picking the outright winner of the Super Bowl at plus money all 3 years. What is it about the big game that really gets you dialed in, and why you've had so much success picking people, dogs outright?
Yeah, I will say the Super Bowl is very, I guess, anti-normalcy for DBB. So I would say on a normal day, normal week, 99% of our plays are going to be, anywhere from maybe 1 to 2 units. I work on a 1 to 5 unit scale, 5 unit being our usual max play, and I try very hard to bring those out on special occasions. So you got to imagine a 10 unit play of the year is an extra special occasion, and one that gets my heart racing a little bit more than normal.
Hopefully, only one per year. Maybe we'll give 1 or 2 freebies.
Yeah, one play of the year per year, and it's just one of those things. I like the trademark big game bubble. I feel like I deliver the best results on the big games, whether it's the Super Bowl. Obviously, we've had a great track record in the 3 years I've been capping it. The college football championship, we just had another great year, making that 4 big games in a row on that end. March Madness is right around the corner, so I don't know. I get excited for the big games. I pride myself in delivering for my clients on the big games. And I just think that there's a little bit more of an advantage looking at the markets for the big games. I know that a lot of things in the gambling world has changed over the years, especially since it's become a little bit more commonplace. I don't think, money splits or where the money sides really tells the whole story these days. But I will say that I think it does become a little bit more important in the grand scheme of things when you have these big games. For example, the Super Bowl, where there's just one game and you've got all of America betting on one game, opposed to, a normal NFL Sunday where you've got 12 to 15 games going on at once. The quote unquote sharp side might not have to mean as much to Vegas in that grand scheme of things as a quote unquote sharp side on the Super Bowl, where there's just one game balancing out the money. So that's the short end of it. I don't want to go too much into details or expose my hand on, where I might be lying for the Super Bowl. I definitely have some fun things that I'm going to share for everyone listening, but I did mention to anyone that took a screenshot of them listening to this, send it to me via DM, and you will get that 10 unit play of the year for free in your DMs when the time comes.
Love that offer. I was about to run your banner $1 for 3 days of plays with Dirty Bubble Bets, but I think I need to update it to be DM a screenshot of DCTV to get the big game bubble play of the year for free.
We'll double dose on that. You send me a screenshot, I'll give you the play, and I'll give you the dollar code, because we're going to have a lot of plays this weekend. ton of plays on Sunday, some official ones. It's the Super Bowl, got to include some fun ones as well. So if you just want to use me for the 10 unit, hit me in the DMs. If you want the whole thing, I'll make sure to take care of you.
Epic. Big game bubble. I want to double click on what you just said because there's definitely something there. And I've heard it both ways. Some cappers like stay away from these super heavily traded games because their betting style is more, we're going to try to find thinly traded markets where something is mispriced and jump on it and move the line a bunch. This is the exact opposite. These are extremely heavily traded market. Probably the most bet event of the year is Super Bowl sides. And other folks like yourself, Connor, are really loving those kinds of events, whether it's the Super Bowl or the college football playoffs, NCAA championships, Final Four, things of that nature. What is it about your style where you really feel like these big games that are very heavily traded are your kill zone or sweet spot?
I don't think I would point it to one thing specifically. Like I said, I don't go just straight money splits. I think a perfect mixture of knowing the teams at hand and also knowing where the money lies in the market can give you a great advantage. I think a lot of recreational bettors these days would just, hop on Vision or hop on the CVS Sports app, look at, this team's got 20% of the money. Let's hit them for 10 units. And that's not all, necessarily the case. Last year, the Eagles, I would say, quote unquote, were the sharp side. But I really like the Eagles to take home the Chiefs. Obviously three-peating in itself is hard enough, but I just thought the Eagles had a more complete roster, was able to, chew the clock down a little bit to keep Patty on the sidelines. But it was, total script reversal the year before. 49ers versus Chiefs, all the, quote unquote, sharp money was on the 49ers and Brock Purdy. And I couldn't get myself to buy into it. It was just one of those things where I looked at it and felt like the Chiefs were a way more complete team, and that was one of those rare instances where I threw the money aside and just, solely focused on what I believed in. So it's kind of a hard question to answer because I haven't really went one route for, my 10 unit play of the year every single time. It's just kind of using that combination of what I know about the teams, obviously using that money market as an aid. But ultimately, you have to be confident with your final decision. I'm not going to throw a 10 unit play of the year out there on a team just because, I feel like the market might want that. Where in my head, I'm like, this just isn't a play I would send out any other day. So
it's the marriage of the money market splits plus what you see on tape. And
composition
and matchups.
I spend every Saturday and Sunday of, the fall and winter grinding out and grueling some of the best and worst beats you can imagine throughout the regular season. So it's like there's some people who might not sit there and, watch a Seahawks or a Patriots regular season game, and maybe they've just watched the first 3 games of these playoffs, and they're sitting there thinking, oh my God, Drake May looks terrible. Patriots can't move the ball on offense, and Sam Darnold looks unstoppable. What they don't know is Sam Darnold had, some of the most turnovers in the league during the regular season. Drake May is in the MVP running, and, a lot of recency bias can come into it. So I would say for me, just incorporate the whole picture into it and, not just, what's happened the past few weeks, because I think recency bias will take place on a lot of recreational gamblers who might not do as much research. And I'm going to go to say that I think the obvious choice might not be so obvious this year.
Oh boy, good cliffhanger. GG, you've also dominated the Super Bowl, especially last year. Plus 22 units. Talk us about what you saw in that performance and maybe some highlights from your, card of the Eagles Chiefs blowout that we witnessed around this time last year.
Yeah, I loved the Eagles. They dominated all through the playoffs. Their defense was unstoppable. I just really like them at a dog price too. Eagles money line was my favorite play. Was I kind of hoping more for the Eagles because I didn't want to see that three-peat? I didn't want to see that Patriots get tarnished, but yeah, maybe. But I like the Eagles a lot. Barkley was unreal. I hit almost every week with Barkley over rushing and receiving yards prop. So those are my 2 biggest bets of there. It was just a domination from start to finish. So same thing. I'm kind of leaning towards today is the props and exposing like Bubble said, recency bias is huge out of any sports, especially in the NFL. So I think that people are really going to be seeing this game. And I did see that the Seahawks -4.5 is the most popular bet in Super Bowl history right now.
Wow.
So 70% I saw plus. So
well, let's get right into it then. Now that we've got everyone properly warmed up, I didn't realize this as I was scheduling the program. So you'll have to forgive me, listeners at home. If you're not a Patriots backer, the two esteemed guests of which both I have a tremendous respect for, happen to be big-time New England Patriots backers, as you can tell from Mike's sweatshirt and Bubbles' insignia behind him. So actually, I'm gonna walk that back. Before we talk into the actual game and the markets themselves, how do you guys, who are professional cappers, but also big fans of the game and the teams playing, how do you balance that out? I just wrote a piece in my month in review for January. I had a very profitable January. I made a bunch of money betting Indiana, where my wife went to school, and I've kind of jumped on the Indiana bandwagon. And a lot of people say, don't bet on a team where you've got an emotional attachment. I say, screw that. Life's too short. I made a bunch of money, both betting on Indiana futures and spread throughout the tournament and throughout the whole season. How do you guys as pros view betting on your favorite team, especially in a game like the Super Bowl, where if you win, you're like crying and going to the parade afterwards?
GG, if you want first, go for it.
yeah, so I think you definitely got to bet with your head more than your heart because it will come to bite you a few times. With the Patriots, I really liked the over more than anything. I mean, even with money line, I think would have won them a lot. But you got to look at the team. You're most invested in the team that you love the most, and I know a lot about this Patriots team, and I was heavy on the over. I know that they have a great offense, and defense was really shaky in the regular season. But yeah, as far as the team you love, for the Red Sox, like this upcoming year, I'm not going to be really betting that much on them. Just I don't. If anything, I'll probably bet the under on the Red Sox, honestly, because they're pitching staff. So if you have a love for one of the teams in the game, just try to go with your head, not your heart. That's what I would suggest.
How often have you bet against the New England Patriots in your career?
I just won't bet it. I can't bet. I can't. That's the one thing I can't do. I just won't touch the game.
See, a lot of people will say, oh, bet against your favorite team as an emotional hedge. That way you're not sad either way. Yeah. I'm with you, Mike. I'm just staying away.
I feel way too dirty.
If I like the side and it's my team, I'm not afraid to empty the clip responsibly. If I don't like the side and it's my team, I'm just staying away. Yeah. There's hundreds of thousands of things to bet on in a given year. I don't need to fade my own squad. Connor, over to you. I can tell you're itching to give us a take.
Yeah,
you're in the same spot as GG over there.
It goes both ways for me. You know, I'm sure any of my Dub Club subscribers might roll their eyes when I say this, but I really try hard not to bet my favorite teams unless it's really a spot that I believe in, whether it's logistically, numbers wise, etc. Harder said than done, because as a fan, a lot of spots look appetizing. But, you know, for example, I took Michigan State last night, lost the game outright. Everyone's going, why did we bet on Michigan State? You know, we're sick of betting on these guys, DBB, yada, yada, yada. It goes both ways. Similar to what the GG said, more times than not, if I see a fade spot and it's, you know, somewhere in the middle for me, I'll usually just lay off instead of throwing, you know, the one unit on to fade the Patriots. If there's a spot that I really like, I'm going to have to just suck it up and take it for the greater good of my clients.
How often did you fade the Patriots in 2025, 2026?
I want to say twice.
Okay.
I can think of one specifically, and that's what was going to be my next point is even when I do fade my favorite teams, it seems to go south for us.
Of course.
I don't remember exactly what week it was this year, but it was Ravens versus Patriots, you know, classic letdown spot for the Patriots. Ravens really needed to win. Ravens start off hot. They're winning the game. And as a fan, I'm sitting there going, oh, you know, this is kind of what I expected, but, you know, at least the money's looking right. And the Patriots storm back and come back and win the game, and I'm kind of sitting there somewhere in the middle. It's like, yeah, I just lost $200, but my favorite team won a game, which, the business side of me takes over and goes, man, I kind of would rather just have the $200 and have all my clients be happy, because that's the whole reason I sent out the play in the first place. Have had some similar instances with MSU basketball, fading them along the way, fading Tom Izzo, roll my eyes at myself for doing that. But it's one of those things where if the spot's really good, I'm just going to have to go against my morals and send it out and, act like I'm not a fan of that team. But it's kind of the same thing goes for the opposite end. It's like if I am somewhere kind of in the middle of a spot where it's a team that I like, I'll more often than not just lay off, because I don't want to feel that, maybe my recent or maybe my fandom bias is taken over. If it's not like a for sure fire bet for me, then it's just one that I just kind of lay off and move on to the rest. There's plenty other games out on the board, so I try not to get too hooked up on the ones where I've got a little mental capacity involved in it.
You guys both are gentlemen, and you give very nuanced professional takes. And I'm curious how you bring that mentality into the biggest of the big games. The other kind of like philosophical question that I'd like to cover before we get into the actual markets and bets themselves. Obviously, the Super Bowl is the most traded bet game of the year, and there's 1,000,001 different markets. How do you guys approach bankroll management with your clients when there's so many people who are like emptying the clip? Clearly, Mike, you fired a bunch of bullets last year. Connor, you fired some big bazookas in the big game. How do you think about like having fun and letting it fly, given that this is like true entertainment TV, appointment TV, unlike any other day in the sports calendar, while also making sure that your clients know this is one of 365 days, and let's not get overly pot committed because anything can happen on any given Sunday? What's the right balance? And what are you telling your clients this week to make sure that they're approaching Sunday with the right mentality?
Yeah. So what I usually recommend, do you want to go ahead?
Go for it.
So what I usually recommend, same with like big parlays and all that. I never bet over 1 unit on a parlay. Parlays are really gravy for me. It's all about straight bets. So same thing. I would never recommend anybody betting big numbers on, say, heads or tails or anything like that. I'd say a quarter of a unit, if that. Just have fun with it. And I do have a couple of player props that I'm actually betting 5 units on, but those are the most confident I'm doing. Just don't go crazy with your bankroll. If you're going to bet something as silly as heads and tails, and it's going to ruin the game for you if you lose, then don't even go about doing that. Just go have fun with those kind of bets and be responsible and just enjoy the game.
Connor, what could you add beyond that?
Yeah, I don't want to repeat more of the same, but for me, it's really just, it sounds so cliche, but it's really just sticking to your bankroll for the Super Bowl. So, if you've only got $100 that you've been gambling with all year, don't bet all $100 on the Super Bowl, or even 50% of that. A lot of people will have, their quote unquote bankroll that they'll use throughout the year. And then they'll get to a big game like the Super Bowl or a big game like the college football championship. And they'll either add to that bankroll just because it's a fun game, or they'll just overexpose that bankroll, leaving them in potential harm's way, for the afterthought. So for me, luckily, I've had the gracefulness, opportunity of going 3-0 on these 10-unit plays, and haven't had to necessarily deal with the potential consequences of that yet. But it's always something that I keep in mind, when I'm crafting this card. So like I said, my usual scale is 1 to 5 units. 1 unit equals 1% of your bankroll. And I really do preach that, no matter how much I know that, 70% of the common gambler, potentially even my clients don't follow that rule. It's something that is, the whole strategy behind the way that I bet. So for the Super Bowl, yes, we're going to have a 10-unit play. Say that 10-unit play falls and things go south. That's 10% of your bankroll that is gone. Not
you got $1,000 in all your accounts. We're only deploying $100 on this bad boy.
Yes, that is the thought process in the meaning behind it.
It's a painful day if we lose, but we live to fight another day. We got $100 to work back up.
So if all hell breaks loose and we lose, that's 10% of your bankroll gone. Not 100% of your bankroll, not 50% of your bankroll, 10%. So if we do lose, you've got 90% of your bankroll to work with for, moving forward the rest of the year. If we win, you've just added 10% to your bankroll in one play, which for how I operate could usually take a week to go up 10 units or a month to go up 10 units. So it's a high risk, high reward situation for people that tail, but I also want to make it, as clear as possible that it's not a doomsday situation if things go south. I bet my 10 units on the game. I'm sitting there with my heart BPMs pumping throughout the entire thing. But if it were to lose, I've still got my 90% in there in the back burner, ready for the next day. So that would be my biggest thing is, a lot of people will see these max plays for the Super Bowl or these play of the years because, a lot of other cappers will have them. And they're just going to go overboard. It's really the fact of the matter. And anyone who's listening to this who might be sitting there going, oh, that sounds like something I could do. Even if you just cut it in half, maybe you don't listen to the 1 unit equals 1%. Just cut it in half. Do something where it's going to take a little bit of stress off your plate to where you can not only enjoy the victory, if things come through, but if God forbid things go south, you're not sitting there going, oh my, this was the worst Sunday ever. I don't even want to get up for work tomorrow. Let gambling be gambling. It's supposed to be fun. Obviously, there's a huge big win on the table, but do it responsibly.
Wise words. Mike, you got my attention peaked. Talking about 5U player props. I know you're willing to let at least a couple of them fly on the program. What's the number one market you're diving into and 1 or 2 props that you really love?
So, obviously I'm on Patriots plus 4.5, big time.
Everybody's on the Seahawks.
No. Yeah, I know. Throw away that I'm a diehard Patriots fan since birth. My first borns, his first name is Brady. Throw that all out the window. People are really discrediting the Patriots because recency bias, A, and B, because, let's face it, the national media is BS that they see the Patriots in the Super Bowl again. They hate it. I think people are really factoring in to what Dirty said a little bit ago. They're seeing what the Seahawks did in the playoffs and seeing what the Patriots did. How's Drake May has looked? And what I can say about Drake May is he's played 3 top 10 defenses, and he has still hasn't lost in the game. Hasn't been throwing interceptions, minus that Texans game. Hasn't really cost them any games. Doing enough, converting on 4th down, converting on 3rd down, and I really like that. My favorite player prop, or if you want to call it player prop or novelty prop, over 2.5 players to attempt a pass plus 160. I absolutely love that. Has hit 3 out of 4 years in the Super Bowl. You got Josh McDaniels, who always throws everything at the table, all the tools, all the gadgets. Something will happen there. And if it doesn't happen there, you got Cooper Kupp, who cashed that quite a few years ago with the Rams. And I could see Kenneth Walker maybe. So yeah, plus 160. I believe that's on DK still. I absolutely love that. That's my favorite one that I might actually be making 5 unit. I haven't decided that yet.
Oh, look at you. Will you, I'm going to interrupt you really quickly. You're building up steam, so I don't want to take away from the mojo too much. So I love, that's a very interesting novelty. I love it. Will you also, and I don't even know if this is available, will you grab like Cooper Kupp over half a pass attempt?
Ooh, yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know if it's available or not.
Yeah.
But is that, when you're thinking about a market like that, like, would you rather have a big, 3, 4, 5 unit play maybe on something that pays out plus 160, or do you pair that with a sprinkle on Kupp to throw a pass, or Stevenson to throw a pass or something like that, or too soon to tell?
That's interesting. Yeah. I would say for that, same with like Patriots plus 4.5. I would rather play it safe than sorry. So yeah, I would definitely stick with 160. Cause like I said, McDaniels, who knows what he's going to do? He could have Henderson try to throw a pass attempt, so I would definitely keep it safe. And plus 160 is a great number. Like I said, 3 out of 4 years, and they're going to throw all the tools and gadgets in this game. So I could absolutely see that hitting again.
That's also just a fun thing to be rooting for.
Right. Yeah.
Mid game, right? Like Super Bowl, I get the 1 to 365. I get the proper bankroll management. I'm so into it, but it is also fun to have like, okay, what do I really want to be rooting for when I'm sitting at the couch on Sunday? And where can I see something in the middle of that Venn diagram where I have a rooting interest in a fun prop, and I also think there's decent value? Like, let's hunt the middle of that Venn diagram. What else GG is kind of that middle of that Venn diagram for you, if anything?
I like Darnold a lot to throw an interception. 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions against the Patriots. I'm praying that he still sees that flying Elvis across the field and it's giving him nightmares. Hopefully Vrabel does exactly what Belichick used to do to Darnold and just blitz, blitz, blitz up the middle. So I really like that at -124. I know
Last time you were on this program, you gave out CJ Stroud 1+ interception against the Patriots in the playoffs, and I think he had 4, maybe 5 interceptions.
Yeah,
and there were a bunch of drop picks too. That could have been 8 picks, no problem.
Yeah.
You had the crystal ball on that one.
Yeah. I know he hasn't done much in the playoffs, but again, it's the Super Bowl. McDaniels is going to have everything. Travion Henderson over 25.5 rushing and receiving yards. That could happen in one play. That's all it takes. One long pass or one long catch, one long run. I like that a lot. I love May over 264.5 rushing and passing yards. Like I said last episode, with running quarterbacks, receiving running backs, you got to combine the two because you just never know how the yards are going to get there. May could get 50+ rushing yards right there and 220 passing yards, and there's your hit right there. So I like that. My biggest player that I like for the Patriots is Hunter Henry. I'm going to sprinkle a tiny bit. And when I say a tiny bit, I mean a tiny bit, like $20, $25 at the most. Henry first touchdown plus 1,600. Henry anytime touchdown plus 240, and Hunter Henry over 40+ receiving yards. If there's one weakness in the Seahawks, it is that secondary, especially in the middle of the field. And I look for May to look for the big guy early and often.
It looks like based on Bubble's body language over there, we got a bit of a consensus, Quake. Come on through for us, Bubble. What do you think? You like the Hunter Henry play?
Yeah, I was sitting here waiting for him to finish because I was going to talk about one player prop that I enjoyed, and that was Hunter Henry. I like him 4+ receptions. Probably will sprinkle on him to score a touchdown, and I do already have a sprinkle on him for the first touchdown. He's kind of a lost art. You know, he's kind of been MIA the past few weeks. So the common name isn't, automatically going to be attracted to Hunter Henry, but keep in mind, a couple snow games, not passing the rock as much as he can, but he leads the team in red zone targets. He's always been, Drake May's #1, safety net, even before he had these weapons. Think of last year when it was just Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry and company. He was Drake May's go-to guy. Just like the GG said, I think Seahawks rank like 29th in catches allowed to tight ends. And, it's the Super Bowl. You go to your safety nets in the Super Bowl. So I think a lot of people are going to be looking at, a Stephon Diggs touchdown because, it's a big game for him in the Super Bowl, or a Kayshon Boutte touchdown because that's kind of been the common art for the Patriots way of scoring is that deep ball from May. But get us in the red zone, get us on second or third down. Won't be shocked if Hunter Henry finds his way to the end zone. But at the very least, I do have one unit on 4+ receptions for Hunter Henry because, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be a yardage game or a reception game, but I do know the safety net's going to be there. And with, how quality the Seahawks defense is, I can see a lot of, I don't like to say dink and dunks, but that's kind of the word that I could see coming.
What about the novelty props? I love the concept of 3+ players to throw a pass. The Super Bowl, more than any other game, is an area where people go super deep and cover every market under the sun. Is there anything in the middle of that Venn diagram for you, Connor? Something you want to root on? Something where you think you can grab a bit of value that's not just heads or tails or Gatorade color?
So I've got 2 novelty props. One kind of is counteracting what I just said about Hunter Henry first touchdown. So let's just ignore that. But fun little prop that I sprinkled on is first touchdown scorer jersey number under 10.5 at +120. So we've got Drake May, we got Stephon Diggs, we've got Kenneth Walker, my Sparty boy for the Seahawks. So that's just a little fun play I put in there. However way that goes, I don't care. Hopefully it hit. If the over does hit, hopefully it's Hunter Henry who, takes that end of the things for us. But another, I would say, for fun, degenerate play. He was speaking of Travion Henderson earlier, and, Travion Henderson really hasn't gotten too much tick in the playoffs. can't say he's been looking the best of form, so I can't blame McDaniels on that end. But all it takes is one big play from Henderson to really make an impact in this game, which is why I took a sprinkle at plus 850 on Travion Henderson, next gen stats, fastest runner of the game. So if you want to talk about degenerate, that's about as degenerate as I can get for you, Lou. It's plus 850. I believe the top odds are Rashid Shaheed, which would make sense. But like I said, if Travion Henderson is going to make any impact in this game, it's going to be a breakaway run, breakaway, dump off screen, whatever it's going to be. And that dude's fast. So if he's going to do it, he's going to be running. And go ahead.
I was going to say, what an interesting response. I'm glad I asked the question.
So yeah, you want a degenerate. That's about as degenerate as I can get for you. I was deep in the lab these past 2 nights, obviously on the official side, but like you said, it is the Super Bowl. I know that not everyone wants to sit there and sweat out 20 to 30 units of official plays the whole time. So we'll have some coin tosses, maybe some Gatorade colors. Obviously, I brought some insight on some of the foolery we'll have on the novelty side. But at the end of the day, 90% of people gamble for fun. I know a lot of people take it serious and want to make, whether it's a side profit, a large profit, etc. But you got to have some element, of fun to it, especially when it's, the one big game. And when Monday comes, we'll all be complaining that there's no football left. So
oh my God, I don't want to think about it, Connor.
Yeah,
don't bring that up.
It.
One thing I've noticed about all the action that's been discussed thus far, not many Seahawks props or plays that would potentially be consistent or correlated with the Seahawks doing well. Sam Darnold to throw an interception doesn't count, Mike. I know you gave us that one. I see your hand going up over there, Bubble. Is there anything on the NFC side of the matchup that you think maybe could be a good idea if someone doesn't really feel like backing the Pats?
Yes. Going back to my Spartan dog, some would say that's ironic, but I like Kenneth Walker 3+ receptions. Sort of like Gigi said, the method to the madness with Sam Darnold is get him pressure, make him make those quick decisions, give him those tight pockets to work with. So I feel like that, should be the plan from the Patriots defensive side of things, which I sort of like I was saying with Drake May and Hunter Henry, I can see a lot of safety valves, coming for Sam Darnold. I think a lot of people are going to automatically focus on Kenneth Walker rushing just because with Charbonnet out, he's really been, increasing his uptick in production, which, as a Spartan dog myself, we all knew he had it in him. But I think that the Patriots are going to, schematically plan to take away some of their strong suits, whether that be Kenneth Walker in the box, JSN on the outside. I think they're going to have Gonzo, one-on-one shadow him the entire game to try to take away, some of that eliteness on the wide receiver side. And I think it's going to be one of those things where they put it in Sam Darnold's hand and say, hey, if we're going to lose this game, we're going to make you beat us with your arm and make you, make some of those big plays. And I think it's going to lead to a lot of quick dump offs, screen plays, etc. And we'll see if my boy K9 gets the looks and what he does with them.
Balanced, fair, and still pubbing Sparty. How do we feel about Pat Fitzgerald headed to East Lansing, by the way?
Anything's better than Jonathan Smith.
With all due respectfully.
Yeah. No, not really. Honestly, not respectfully for me. He wasn't a needle mover for me. I paid that college $100,000 to go there. I at least got to get some juice when I'm watching the football team. So we'll start with a winning season. That's what I'd like to see first, is a winning season. And then, we can worry about what comes after that.
I like the new quarterback, Chicago kid. Good player. I don't know. Is he going to be the guy next year? Milotovic? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I was screaming for his name all year just because
terrible.
I was never a big Childs believer in the first place. He was giving me a lot of Justin Fields on the Jets vibes. So
interesting.
Once they made the change, I was kind of on board just to get with the vibe the rest of the season, and we'll see what happens next year.
Amazing. Well, we're running up on time. I want to give out our little reads here at the end. Is there any final parting thoughts from the dais before we get into the outro and wish people a very merry Super Bowl Sunday and weekend?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much piggyback by what we both been saying. Just go out there, have fun. Like, don't bet crazy amounts of money that's going to end up ruining your time or experience with the game. Don't go crazy on the novelty props. Just enjoy the game, and hopefully you can win some little bit of money. Make it everything.
What's the spread look like at the Casa de Gambling Guy? That's going to be my parting question to you too, Bubble. How are we celebrating? This is like peak gluttony in my house. Are we cooking? Are we ordering in? What does the spread look like?
Yeah, so I mean, I was supposed to have quite a few friends over, but little mini GG doesn't want that. So
he's probably stressed out.
He wants to be himself. He wants to be going crazy and not feel nervous or embarrassed and all that. So I think we compromise. Going to still have a couple of buddies over and get party pizzas, chips, make him some potato skins, and have some high noons.
Sounds like the best day ever. As a reminder, 75% off all Gambling God packages, pages, whatever we want to call it, underneath, link below. The guy is locked in. We already got a bunch of props, but there's a lot more behind the Dub Club, so go check him out before Super Bowl Sunday. Connor, you're up. Start with your Super Bowl Sunday spread, and then hit us with your parting thoughts.
Well, let's just say I'm a sicko when it comes to my sports fandom. So obviously, if you guys don't know by now, I'm a Patriots fan. So my big team's playing in the Super Bowl. I actually have a tradition, if you want to call it. It's not one that I'm very proud of, but it was one that took place twice in my college days at MSU because I was able to witness 2 Patriots Super Bowls. Not sure if I'm going to do it this year because I'm 28 years old and not sure if I have it in the bag anymore. But the past 2 Super Bowls, I have decided to purchase a solo party bag box of Twisted Tea in the bag and consume the entire thing by myself throughout the entirety of the game. And the game has to be empty by the time that the game's over. So unfortunately, I had that broad realization about a week ago when the Patriots made the Super Bowl. I go, holy shit, I might have to bring out this tradition one more time. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the plan because I don't think my body can handle that anymore. But I will say that I am like a very antisocial person when it comes to my teams. You're
alone with the Twisted Tea bag.
I am, nothing else. Whether it's the Twisted Tea bag, whether it's whatever it is, I am going to be alone in solidarity on my lucky recliner in my Patriots jersey, manning the ship for the Dirty Bubble bets and everything in between. I've had some people ask me if I want to get together for the game. Quick no, they should know better by now. But if it was any other team besides the Patriots, I'd probably be going out, hanging out with friends, yada, yada, yada. But I am a big stress ball when it comes to my teams. So I'm just going to enjoy the show as is, maybe drink some Twisted Teas, see what that Bad Bunny halftime performance has, to show for us, and see what happens.
Well, hopefully we get a few new friends in the Dirty Bubble crew. $1 for 3 days of plays, or send a screenshot of you listening to DCTV, if you're still with us, to the Bubble, and you will get the 10U Play of the Year for free before Super Bowl Sunday. And if you are subscribed to Dirty Bubble and he starts firing out live plays on Sunday, maybe stay away from those because there'll be a lot of Twisted Tea behind those. So buyer beware. What an epic show. Thank you both for joining. I think the Pats Nation is very grateful for the way you presented yourselves. And thank you to our friends at Chalkboard. 100% deposit match for new customers. First deposit up to $100 plus a free square with code DUBCLUB. Great way to juice out some payouts with whatever we heard on this stream. There's a lot of different plays to attack this game. And we got some great ideas from our friends GG and DBB. I hope both teams have fun on Sunday. Thank you both, fine gentlemen, for educating us, getting ready for the big weekend.
Thank you. Quick thought, Lewis. I think this is a good crew for us. Bears, Patriots in Chicago next year. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, teaser. I love it. Plant the seed.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'll be there. Well, thank you, Lou. Thank you, GG.
Thank you. Always appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you to anyone who's listened. I did see some DMs coming through, so I will get to those. Appreciate all you guys.
Oh, what a genius tactic from the Bubble. You are always on the cutting edge, my friend.
Try my best. Adapt or die, my friend.
Woohoo! Talk soon.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Talk to
everyone.
you soon, guys.
Thanks,
See
guys.
ya.